Welcome to the Real Estate Jam Session. If you want to be a house flipper, today's video is for you. My guest today, Indar Lange, started with one home in Hawaii, a little 600 square foot property. He now has 12 properties under construction around the United States. So he's really grown his business, and he walks us through all the tips and tricks to get that done. So there's a lot to learn from us today. So make sure you check out the video, give us a like. Now, if you're new to the channel, my name is Joe Kellinger. I've been a real estate entrepreneur for over 20 years. And I use this YouTube channel to really bring guests on that have experience in investing or being a real estate agent. They walk us through what's worked well for them, what has not worked well for them, but what they learned from those failures. So there's a lot to learn on this channel. So make sure you go check out the video, give us a like, and while you're there, make sure you subscribe. So Indar, thank you for coming on today. I know to have as many deals as you've got going on right now for house flipping in Hawaii, I didn't know the market was that big. But so can you kind of walk us through, actually give us a brief about your background. I want to hear where you got started and then how you ended up with this many properties. You have 15 under construction right now?
Yeah, so we're a large flipping company here in Hawaii. We wholesale West, wholesale, and now we're branching to flip and keep multifamilies. We're just trying to accumulate doors. It's a new passion of mine is how many doors you got we have some office space as well and so forth. So.
Yeah, now you started in maintenance, correct? That's where your background is?
I'll start real far back. Born and raised on a pot farm in Hilo on the Big Island back in the 70s. Parents grew weed for a living. That's what they did back then.
Of course.
Very humble beginnings, water catchment, generator. We lived, in the boonies in the middle of nowhere, and we sold the pot farm, got normalized, and blah blah blah. Went to school, went to college, got an electrical engineering degree, got a business degrey. And engineering was great. I could have made a great money. Engineers make maybe 150, 200,000 a year. Great money by any means, of course. But I wanted more than that. I wanted to have more in life. And I started hanging around like a real high net worth private, it's called Outrigger Canoe Club. It's like a country club, you guys would say. Yep. And these were all millionaires. And all these millionaires either did real estate to get there where they're at, or they had real estate in their portfolio. And just stemming off of that, I just realized that I need to do real estate. And from then I started realizing what avenue do I want to take. I didn't want to be the real estate agent making the 3-6%. I wanted to make the 97%. So I already had a background in construction. I have a contractor's license, and my wife just signed me up for one of those flipping programs. I was like, no, I'm not gonna do it.
Now, did you know about this, or she just say, honey, I got you something for happy Sunday morning?
Yeah, no, it was they're good at it. They do like a 2-hour thing. Okay. And you go to a weekend thing. But the 2-hour thing, she just said, hey, just come check it out. Yeah. That was 50 grand. And now in hindsight, I'm a huge advocate for education and learning and growth. I think I spent 100 grand alone on Masterminds last year and meetups. And for me to go somewhere, it's a long flight. It's a 6-hour flight.
Exactly.
It's not a cheap flight for me to fly anywhere. So I go to some high-level masterminds now. I'm in some big high-level groups, constantly learning and growing, just trying to better myself no matter what.
Yeah. Now, did you start off with one house, or how did you get started?
Yeah, so I started in I was 26 years old. It was 2012. Okay. And I bought I went to the bank and I said, bank, what will you give me? Give me something. And they gave me $240,000 at the time, 1% down at the time. They had some great loans at the time, and bought my own little place. It was 600 square feet, little box, and lived. You don't get much in Hawaii for
that's true.
And lived in myself, did it myself, fixed it myself. In 2 years, sold it. After 2 years, no capital gains, by the way. Anyone out there listening, you don't pay any capital gains after 2 years. Sold it, made 90 grand. And I took that 90 And then we actually rented for a while, and I used that 90. That's about the time I signed up for the flipping program, and just went into it. Did one flip the first year, 2 or 3 the next year, 4 or 5 the following year. And it kind of just kept on growing into this machine. I didn't start, when I started, there was no one scaling Hawaii. Everyone told me, you can't do it. You can't scale Hawaii. You can't do bigger. Our price points were at huge. We've been at $1 million for years now. So I think we're up to 1,200,000 now for a single family house. But everyone said, you can't scale it. You can't do it. I was like, well, watch me. I had this millionaire mentor friend of mine, and he told me a real good thing. I was on my second flip, and we were looking at this flip, and there were so many naysayers, like friends and family included, saying, don't do this house. What are you doing flipping? I was in like the real ghetto part of the island or town, and he told me this. He said, somebody's going to do this deal, and somebody's going to figure it out. Might as well be you or somebody else. Make zero or make something. And that's been my mindset ever since. Anytime I look at a deal and it's super hard, houses falling down, rotten galore, somebody's going to figure this out. It's either
your engineering degree, that's a huge one for you. How did you, now when you say your bank gave you $240,000 for your first house, that was is in debt for the property, or how did that work, and how did you grow with the bank? Are you still using the same bank?
Oh no, anyone out there, banks are relationships galore. I literally cold called banks. We were constantly meeting with now today. But yeah, that back then it was a Fannie and Freddie loan. They had a special program called 1% down. So that was a traditional kind of thing. Then as we started flipping, we use hard money loans. We have a combination. I probably have 4 or 5 hard money lenders I'm constantly working with, constantly calling new hard money lenders to keep that relationship going. And we're at the point with some of our multifamily deals, you'll get this at our banks. We max out at banks. You can only have whatever 10 million at some banks. So we max out at some banks. So you may have a great relationship with banks, but you can only do so much with banks, have so much lines with them. So we use hard money now to buy our deals. Okay. But
how do you, what's your average? How has your hold time evolved? The first house, you probably did it all by yourself, right? So that was months. And I'm guessing you're probably not doing that now. Now you're probably just a few weeks, right?
Yeah. So our first house was actually our first flip. Yeah. We wholesaled a deal, and then we did a flip. We bought for $720,000. And I was scared shit. I was scared. You were.
Those first ones,
I was like, I was like, this is a huge buy. Like, this is like life money. Like, I can go bankrupt and lose everything. I was really scared. It was big numbers for me at the time. And we put 120,000 into it and sold it for $1 million. And I had a partner, so I took home 60,000, and my partner took home the rest. And I was kind of hooked from then on. And from then we did 1 or 2, 3 or 4, as I was saying. And now we're scaling into, we manage 25 million-ish at a time of fix and flips here in Hawaii. And now we're in the mainland, where we're constantly, we're doing a lot of marketing in the mainland through 15 different states, where we're cold calling or PPC. We do a lot of PPC, different marketing campaigns. And anyone out there who does marketing, the thing I realized about marketing, it's not an overnight thing. Marketing is a big funnel. You're just filling that funnel. As you start get more deals through that funnel, the deals finally happen 6 months, 9 months later. So I always didn't realize that until later on, that marketing is not an overnight kind of thing. And then
once you have one under contract and you own it, what's your turnaround time now? Are you 4 weeks, 6 weeks?
It depends on the project. We just bought a $2.7 million house, and it's $800,000 rehab. It's and then we're pre-sold at 5.1. For any agents out there, we used the previous listing that we had that was sold, sorry guys, this is sold, but we have this coming. So we hold open houses even though it's sold, and pre-sell. When you're at 5 million, you kind of want to sell these things. So we do some real.
It's a lot sitting on the books.
Yeah,
it
that's
adds up quick.
20. We have a hard money loan. It's 22,000 a month mortgage. So it's not fun. But yeah, those are the bigger ones. Of course, those going to take. That's a 8 to 10 month project.
Yeah.
And then we'll do some. We go down. Our cheaper ones are 300,000. It's probably our cheapest houses we buy, and that's 4 to 6 weeks depending on how much work we're doing. So every project is kind of a project by project.
Yeah.
And we don't look at a project. Everyone talks about what's your return on investment, what's your cash on cash return. I like that, but I want to just know my profit. And to me, the profit that you make on a deal, on a flip, is that enough cushion to handle what could happen on this flip? For example, the 2.7, we're selling at 5,800,000 rehab. I wouldn't want to make like a couple $100,000 on that thing, because selling a $5 million house, if you can't sell it, it shifts. I come from a time when it was hard to sell a house, so I'm used to that. Now it's, you close your eyes and that's your list price. So it used to be hard to sell houses. So
actually had to look at values for a while.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're happy to, if you get an asking price, that's your lowest offer normally.
Yeah.
Even
Indar, how are you now? You've got your education behind you, so there has to be a system that you guys are utilizing to track all this inventory and all the work. Is it a custom built, or is there a company that you guys utilize?
So I originally just started off with Excel, of course, like everyone else. I'm an Excel geek freak. I have a really in-depth deal analyzer that we analyze our flips. I have a ton of Airbnbs, so I have an Excel analyzer for Airbnbs. For a multifamily, we bought somebody's multifamily deal analyzer. Yeah, so they're all Excel based. Everything's Excel based. But now for our wholesaling and some of our marketing stuff, we use Podio for our CRM. And then we have a ton of different apps that we use for batch leads, for leads, cold calling. I have a lot of monthly fees for all these different.
It adds up quick, doesn't it?
Yeah. And we're constantly trying new things, and
you have to. You have to sit and look at, and what you're doing is you got to be aware of your numbers, right? You need to look every week, every day, every week, and every month, and every year actually, what's working, and how is this changing? Because we're going through a changing market, and I don't know if you guys have seen it yet in Hawaii, but you're starting to see residential, not that it's slowing down, I shouldn't say slowing down, but people are being more cautious right now. And so, it's changing.
Yeah, well, it's cool this last year, we actually started going nationwide, and it was kind of by fluke. And I was always just in Hawaii, and I only knew Hawaii market. We already had a low inventory before COVID. So after COVID, our inventory was just nothing. And now that we're across the nation, it's kind of interesting to see, I think we close on New York tomorrow, or New Jersey, and we have Chicago. We have all these different states. So it's kind of interesting to see, as you guys are, how markets move and so forth. And I'm the seller, or the buyer. So I'm really I can really feel it out, because I'm constantly, it's a different feeling when it's your house or your property. But the supply and demand is really, I think, trumping, for me, I think personally, is trumping everything from interest rates and so forth. I see the interest rates, we're at 5% now, but it's not hurting them. It's hurting the amount the buyer can afford. So maybe he can afford a $1 million house. No, he can afford an $800,000 house, whatever may be the difference. But the supply, the demand is so weak still. Cost of materials are still high up across the nation. So builders were reluctant to start building. I have a bunch of friends who do, huge developments, and I have a really huge friend who does, 1,000 house developments, and they've been on hold. They weren't doing anything for a while because they didn't know where the market was going to go.
Yeah.
So all these large scale builds, haven't just maybe started now. So we won't see that supply, I think, catch up. I can flip a house here and there, but that's nothing. It's who's doing the 1,000 house build kind of inventory to make up for our supply. Our supply and demand is, I think, ultimately in any business and any economic, my iPhone, the supply outweighs the demand. The iPhone's $400 to buy the iPhone, but I'll pay $1,400 for it because I need it. So
yeah.
But,
are you seeing now with your inventory control, are you guys, and being in Hawaii too, are you seeing that's a little more difficult? I mean, if you're doing in the States and you're doing it in Hawaii, is it a little more difficult to get your supplies over there?
Yeah, I've struggled that from the start of our flipping career, and we just pivot all the time. For example, we'll change out. We have 50, 40 windows we got to buy throughout a house, and that window can't get in that size, so we'll just cut it open to a larger size. I want to buy certain things, like I love the black aluminum frame, nice black windows. Those take 4 to 6 weeks, so often we won't buy that. We'll just do the vinyl white window. So we just make it work what we have, and that's all that you have to do. I mean, other than the material cost itself, which you can't control. I'm a managed account at Home Depot, and actually my rep at Home Depot told me that he thinks it's all a scam, that he doesn't see why the material should be up, because they just I think the suppliers know they can mark it up in a sense. And
I've been hearing that a little bit. Now, do you when stuff comes on sale, like any of your vendors, do you go ahead and, if it's on sale, buy more and then just store it?
I've tried it all. I've ordered from China, Alibaba, flooring, and all that kind of stuff. And it gets too much, and you end up getting too much waste. For example, all the flooring, you end up with 4 or 5 boxes extra. So now I just treat Home Depot. Home Depot is my warehouse. I have a rep at Home Depot. I can get things like that. So I don't hold too much material anymore. Even machinery, we rent a lot of big machineries. I used to have a ton of machine guys break in, all that. Stopped all of that. We use Home Depot. I'm not an advocate for Home Depot, but the Home Depot the tools, and just rent it, because then I don't have to pay for all that kind of stuff. I mean, I got 2 project managers right now, and so they handle all of that kind of stuff. I'm not really involved in the flips anymore, per se. I'm actually more focused into the multifamily, and I have a team that manages the flips and so forth.
How is multifamily in Hawaii going?
You would be surprised at some of these cap rates. I think we're buying out a 3.5 cap right now, but we can do a value add, a huge value add. So sometimes a cap's not justifiable if we can do. We look where we can do some huge value add stuff. Same idea.
Who is the buyer for that stuff? Is it mainland people coming over there and wanting to have investment property, or
we get a lot
other
of
countries?
Yeah, Chinese, Japanese, of course. They're coming over here buying a lot. I think China is still shut down. I don't think they're fully here back in Hawaii yet. I think just the other day in China, they shut down their real estate. They had some kind of market where you can kind of buy in real estate. They don't own their houses in China, actually. They're like a 99-year lease or something. But that's a primary. And then of course a smaller market of people here. I think we have Hawaii is such a class A market, because we have a lot of rich people that come here and just maybe make their money, doing tech or something. They just want to park their money somewhere. They want to be in Hawaii. So we often get a lot of our buyers are not really they're people just want to park their money into a safe, secure asset. So a lot of our
preservation.
So they've
made their money. They just want to hold on to it.
So they will buy way above market value sometimes, and they will push because they like the avenue of the tax shelters of real estate. And man, if you want to talk about taxes, I love talking about taxes.
Yeah, the
Crazy.
depreciation, it's
Yes.
in holding the longer term,
Yes.
you've got to, the flipping, that's an accounting nightmare, right? You've got to worry about
Yes.
all
So
the inventory and what went in where. And
my
so it
capital
adds,
gains is crazy. Yes. Yes.
yeah. Yeah. We've got a friend he's got to have all his taxes done. He's been flipping houses for about 8 months now. And he goes, man, the headache I've got with all the accounting and putting all this together. So I just don't think that's what made me think about the software they were using, because he goes, man, I got to get a good software. He goes, it's ridiculous. So
We
yeah.
do we track our flips two ways. We have a Google Sheet log where all our project managers can log in and log all the material costs, and then of course QuickBooks. So kind of one is catching the other per se. So we kind of have a two-step process. Google Sheet, is easy. Everyone has that on the phone and so forth, just to
Yeah.
track
Make it
it
all
all.
enter in and put in.
Back,
What's that?
yeah. I was
Yeah.
gonna say back to the taxes. We made a ton of money flipping, but we keep on buying rental properties, not necessarily for the cash flow. We were just buying it fell out a 22 million portfolio in Minnesota, and we cared about the cost segregation studies. These tax depreciations we get off of these things are crazy, that can offset our flipping. Um, I really
Yeah.
enjoy the depreciation of things, and having the write-offs, because then I can not pay taxes legally.
Yeah. I mean, and you know what, we have a video at 2:00 today coming out on cost segregation. I don't,
Oh,
yeah, the timing, right? So by the time this video comes out, it's going to be almost 2 weeks ago. So go back 2 weeks on the YouTube channel and you'll see it's
yeah,
on cost segregation. But yeah, it's a great way. It's very smart
man.
that you guys are doing that.
Oh man, I've done one the last 2 years, and once I've done one, I'm like, just blew my mind. Like,
Yeah.
oh man, I want to buy more rental properties just for that. I mean, yeah, the
Yeah.
cash flow is great, but the amount of savings you get, I'm paying, I think I'm in the 35-40% tax bracket I pay on my taxes.
Yeah.
So for me to save that, that's huge. That's a huge tax savings. So
Yeah.
and we found some great ways for our investors actually to invest on projects with us, and to take back the tax incentives. So for anyone like, doctors and lawyers and so forth that are non-real estated people, we have I use a great accountant who's in Vegas, and he figured out, how to do it all. And it's amazing. It's amazing. I love, we do pay, sorry, I should say we do pay state taxes, but just not
Yeah,
the
of
federal
course. Yeah.
taxes.
But no, it's a great way to save money. What we'll have to do is have you come back. We're running a little long today, but have you come back on the show and let's go through all the tax opportunities in flipping. And I think that would be something that everybody'd like to see. And we can get you back on the show if you'd be okay with that.
Oh yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, even in the flipping itself, we do a lot of tax savings strategies kind of thing, and working with the banks, because constantly we're working with banks, and we're constantly trying to. You want to look great for the banks, but obviously you don't want to pay. So it's a little game to play. So
yeah. Let's get you back on, and and thank you for coming on today. Once the video's over, I'll reach out to you and let's see about rescheduling something to get you back. Come on and talk about this tax savings.
Let me share a couple of ninja tips real fast
Sure.
for all the people out there. I always like to share some tips and tricks of the trade.
Absolutely.
So if you guys are ever selling a house and you're carrying a hard money loan, you're carrying a high note to this house, you're paying a daily cost. You're paying $300-500 a day. You have a daily carrying cost. So I offer the buyer $100 a day to close sooner. So that's saving you money. So next time you guys are selling a house, give a credit, $50, $100 a day. You think it's a win-win. You're saving your money, and now that buyer is going to push to close that deal sooner. Sometimes we have 60-day escrows. If you can close in, 45 days, you're saving money. So little things like that. When you do a flip and you're selling a high-end house, we pay for a home inspection before we hit the market, and that home inspection is what I give to the contractors as a final punch list, because that savvy dude that's buying a $5 million house, he's pretty smart. So he's going to go through, he's going to pick apart that house with his home inspection, and he's going to try and get you a credit. He's going to ask for $5,000, $10,000, $50,000 if you miss something. So if you pay that $500 for a home inspection will save you a huge amount before you get to the market and sell it. It will save you a lot. A couple more little ones. Zero offers make zero deals. So much new people out there I talk to, and they're scared to make the offer. The thing we find is 22 offers get you a deal. But in real estate, the coolest thing about real estate, it's an option to buy the house. In stocks, you buy that stock and you buy it. In real estate, we have a due diligence period. We have, a 60-day close, whatever. You have an option to buy the house. So when you make an offer, doesn't mean you're buying that house. It just means you're revoking an option to want to buy the house. So you can always get out of a deal. You can always walk away from a deal, just because sometimes we'll write an offer just to get accepted and then figure it out, for example. So a lot of new people are scared to write that offer, as I once was.
Me too.
Yeah.
My first one was, it's so hard to put pen to paper and go, okay, now this is it. Because you're right. That mind says, I own this now, even though you're just going through the phases of it until that closing day.
Yes. But yeah, I got a couple more, but yeah, I always like to try and help out, with little things.
It's key because, Indar, both you and I have been there, right? And, I'm very fortunate we find guys like you that'll come on and walk us through and, really walk us through the steps that you took to find success. And, it's key to the next generation of home flippers or investors to come in and be successful and hopefully learn from us.
I think I have that abundance mindset that there's enough for everyone to go around. Yep. There's enough deals for people out there. I love helping people. Anyone on here, message me, Indar, Hawaii. I love to help you out and just talk story. There's enough deals for everyone. There's enough in life for everyone, to go around. And there was no one for me to look up to, so I just want to be that light for other people to look up to.
That's why we're doing this whole channel. So people want to become real estate investors or real estate agents. That's why we're here. And but let's get you back on and continue this conversation, Indar. I got to go to a meeting. They're standing outside my door right now looking at me. Let's reach back out. I am going to put your contact information down below so somebody can reach out to you, and they can or reach out to me and I'll connect. And then for those of you watching today, make sure you give us a like, and if you haven't done so, make sure you subscribe. And again, we'll get Indar back on here to answer all your questions. Thank you, Indar.
Thank you so much. Aloha, guys. Aloha.